Well, good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. We're here this morning for our Administrative Matters meeting. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me if you're able.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. I am Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and with me is my fellow Commissioner, Commissioner John Kafalis. To my right from the Clerk's office, we have Diane Cheney helping us take notes this morning. We have our County Manager, Lorenda Volker. We have Tom Clayton and Michelle Bird from Public Affairs. Michelle is the Director of Public Affairs. So we welcome all of them as well. We will begin with our first item on the agenda, which is public comment. And I think some people have signed up, but you may be people that are here for Economic Development Week, and we will talk to you later in the agenda. So hang tight. Is there anyone who wanted to give public comment that is not here for an agenda item? Okay, we give folks 3 minutes. So I think everybody's here for a purpose, and we'll get to those soon. Michelle, was there anyone that wanted to call in with public comment?
Not today, Commissioner.
No. Okay. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is approval of the minutes. And I will ask Commissioner Kafalis to make a motion for that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. I move to approve the minutes for the week of May 5th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 2-0. And we will move on to our upcoming schedule review.
Good morning, Commissioners. Here is your draft schedule for the week of May 19th through the 25th for 2025. On Monday, May 19th at 10 a.m., you'll have a work session with Laura Walker, Human and Economic Health Services Director. At 11 a.m., you'll have a work session for our Climate Smart Future Ready update. And at 1:30 p.m., you'll have a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources. On Tuesday, May 20th at 9 a.m., you will have Administrative Matters, which is this meeting in this room, followed by Legal Matters with the County Attorney. At 12 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Community Corrections Advisory Board lunch. And then at 1:30 p.m., there will be Administrative Direction to County Management. On Wednesday, May 21st at 1:30 p.m., there'll be a work session regarding the 2026 budget targets and strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges analysis. On Thursday, May 22nd at 11:30 a.m., I think it says p.m., but I believe it's a.m., Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together all-member session wrap-up and summer prep meeting. At 2 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Regional Opioid Abatement Council meeting, and that is a hybrid meeting. At 4 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Emergency Medical Services Week Spring Barbecue at the Thompson Valley Emergency Medical Services headquarters. At 4:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority Board meeting, and that is a hybrid meeting. At 5 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Open Lands Advisory Board meeting. And then on Friday, May 23rd at 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Colorado Forest Health Council Legislative Committee meeting. At 9 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Middle Income Housing Authority Board meeting. At 10 a.m., Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together member check-in. On Saturday, May 24th, you have an open schedule, and on Sunday, May 25th at 12 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Stevens will attend the Veterans Plaza of Northern Colorado Memorial Day celebration. That is all.
Thank you, Michelle. Any corrections, Commissioner?
I don't have anything at this time.
Me neither. It looks like everything's been updated. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right. Our next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, and I'll read through the consent agenda items, of which there are quite a few, so please be patient. We have 4 agreements on the consent agenda this morning. We have a State of Colorado intergovernmental grant agreement for the Public Building Electrification Grant. That grant runs through May 31st of 2030 and is for $250,000. there is a Colorado Parks and Wildlife Grant Amendment number 2 for the Poudre River Regional Trail from Windsor to Timnath. It's the final connection, and I know people are excited about that. We received a $250,000 grant from Parks and Wildlife from their non-motorized trail program towards this project. And we have amended the grant agreement to extend the contract to June 30th, 2026, and that total dollar amount is $250,000. We have an amendment number 1 with the state of Colorado for the Taft Hill improvements project, and is a total dollar amount of approximately $2.3 million. $1.7 million hopefully will be coming from an MMOF grant, a Multimodal Options Fund grant, and approximately $674,000 will be a local match. Then we have from the Colorado Energy Office an IGA, bless you, IGA award. This is a grant award for approximately $2 million from the Colorado Energy Office Clean Air Program for methane capture at the landfill. This will build out the existing methane gas collection to collect additional methane gas from all closed areas. So when the landfill is closed, more methane is created, and so we want to be able to use that methane and not waste it and pollute the air. So this is a really great opportunity for us to clean up our air, and we'll be talking about that later. We have 3 appointments on the agenda. One is a reappointment to the Parks Advisory Board for Adam Crossan, and that is a term ending June 30th, 2028. A reappointment to the Planning Commission for Adam Eggleston, and that term will end June 30th, 2028. And a midterm appointment to our rodeo board for Shannon Fancher, and that term will end December 31st, 2028. We have 1 letter of support on our agenda that is establishing a Region 2 Economic Development District. This is to form a regional economic development district in partnership with Weld County, who's leading the effort. This collaboration would position Northern Colorado to better compete for resources and drive inclusive, sustainable economic growth. Economic development districts are multi-jurisdictional regional planning organizations federally designated by the U.S. Economic Development Administration, and they support long-term economic strategies that strengthen regional economies. So it's a really good news item for us, and puts us in a better position to compete for resources and promote growth. So we're excited about that. We have 4 liquor licenses. 3 are renewals. 1 is for Westlake Liquor for a retail liquor store license in Loveland. 1 is for Mountain Whitewater, and that's a beer and wine renewal license. 1 is for Best Western Loveland plus Loveland Inn, and that's a tavern license. And finally, a special event liquor, a 6% liquor license for the LaPorte Festival. We have 11 miscellaneous items. 3 are approval to enter onto lands to do weed mitigation. 4 are stipulations as to tax year 2023 value. 3 are stipulations as to tax year 2024 value. And the last item is the human services payments during the first quarter of 2025, which total approximately $38 million. We have two findings and resolutions. 1 approving the Isaacs appeal. That was a non-conforming use, and the public hearing for that was held on April 14th, 2025. And the last one is a findings and resolutions approving the Platte River Power Authority Rawhide 1041 permit. And we had public hearings for those on March 10th, March 24th, and April 21st. So that is all on the consent agenda. Commissioner Kvalis, would you like to remove anything from the consent agenda?
I would not.
I would not either. So I will ask you to make a motion to approve this agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the consent agenda for May 13th, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes 2-0. And I don't have a guest, although we have some lovely guests in the audience today. Do you have a special guest this morning?
All these folks are our guests.
Yes, so you're all a guest. So we will proceed to our discussion items. And our first discussion item is to jointly proclaim with the Board of Health May 2025 as National Clean Air Month in Larimer County. And we have Tom Gonzalez, our Public Health Director, with us. And we're excited for this presentation, as I imagine the public is.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. Tom Gonzalez, Public Health Director. Thanks for having us, and I got a couple esteemed staff, Noelle Odell and Leah Schneider, who both work in our air quality and land use planning programs, which work together. This is May, of course, an important time of year to talk about clean air and air quality. So if we go to the next slide, what we would like to do is give you an update on our activities locally that we're working on to reduce ground level ozone, and we'll certainly be talking more about that. These activities include our contract activities with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. We often are told we are the eyes and the nose of the health department, looking at when there are emission issues or odor issues. We work directly with our partners at the State Health Department through that contract. Our commercial landscape electrification incentives. And this is a big thank you to the Board of County Commissioners for your financial support in this program, as well as our Board of Health, who's our governing policy board for the Health Department, on prioritizing air quality as a priority throughout our strategic planning. Also, additional regulatory air quality monitors. This is exciting. This is something we have been working on for at least 4 years to kind of expand our network and looking at what is the distribution of ground level ozone and other precursors throughout Larimer County. So we'll talk more about that. Our air toxic planning and monitoring. Now, as you can imagine, this is a regional approach. Air quality doesn't have boundaries. So this is a wonderful regional collaborative that Leah will talk about. And then our outreach and communication to our residents and visitors. So our next slide, well, what's the problem? Why are we here? The problem is ground level ozone. And this is a phenomenon where you have nitrous oxides emissions and volatile organic compounds, other emissions, that when there is UV and heat, we create ozone. That phenomenon creates ozone, O3 at the ground level. Now, ozone up in the stratosphere, that's great. That helps protect us from the sun's UV rays, but down low, it creates health complications, especially to those that have lung issues such as asthma or any other underlying health condition. It also impacts the healthy. So we talk a lot about the outreach when we have high ozone days. Now, it's important to know that these sources come from a variety of different areas. And when we look at it as from a pie, we look at transportation in Larimer County, our vehicle and our fuels, the combustible vehicles, as the largest portion of that pie, over 70%. So our work to electrify battery power is very, very important. Industry plays a big part in the 9-county non-attainment area. And we don't have as much industry in Larimer County, but certainly to our neighbors to the east, we know there's influences from industry. Lawn equipment, we'll talk more about that in the program, but lawn equipment that are gas combustible do contribute significantly to our ground level ozone. And then just household products. Stuff in the bathroom, makeup, those kind of things are out in your shed or your garage, your acetone, other chemicals you may have, those release VOCs. So another thing to really look at when we look at the data, we're talking about the formation of ground level ozone when it goes above the 2015 federal standard of 7 parts per billion, or 70 parts per billion, my apologies, is when we have a day 90 degrees or higher, the significant correlation to having a ground level ozone day where it exceeds the standards is high. When it's below 90 degrees, it's low. Almost we never see it. So we know heat plays a major role in ground level ozone. And also, this is one of the biggest challenges that we're facing right now. Because when we say, let's get it below 70 parts per million, that sounds easy. But we know just naturally, if all human activity was to stop, we have background effects just where we're located geographically and our atmospheric with the foothills and the conditions coming from the north and the winds from the west. We typically, on a given warm summer day, have a background of ozone around 45 to 50 parts per billion. So as you see, we're trying to shave it down below 70. It becomes even more challenging because of just the natural background we have. So that doesn't mean it isn't, we're working on it. It doesn't mean we're going to get below that, but that's just something I want the listeners to hear, is that it's not all human induced. Some of this is natural occurring. So with that, we'll jump into the first of our topics, and I'll hand it over to Noelle.
Right, good morning. My name is Noelle Udell, and I'm an environmental health specialist lead in air quality at the Department of Health and Environment. And in the next two slides, I will highlight the department's air quality program and updates on the 2025 Commercial Landscaping Electrification Grant Program. So as an overview, the Department of Health and Environment is contracted with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment's Air Pollution Control Division to perform air pollution monitoring activities in Larimer County. So we conduct inspections of sources of pollution that are permitted by the APCD. That includes oil and gas drilling sites, mining operations, concrete and asphalt plants, auto repair shops, and chlorofluorocarbons or CFC sources. So that includes certain air conditioning sites, refrigeration sites, and motor vehicle repair or salvage facilities. We also investigate complaints that we receive from the public, municipalities, APCD, or the Environmental Protection Agency. And common types of those complaints are dust or visible emissions. You may hear that as opacity or dust complaints. We also perform inspections related to the operation and maintenance of air quality monitors as part of the statewide monitoring network. In addition to this, we review burn permit applications or requests with the local fire districts. And in order to perform these contract activities, our train maintains certification yearly in opacity and odor. And with that, we'll move on to the next slide. Perfect. In partnership with the Board of County Commissioners, as Tom mentioned, the Department of Health and Environment is relaunching a grant program for 2025 to support small landscaping businesses with the transition from gas power to electric landscaping equipment. Our goal is to make a greater impact with commercial landscapers, since they are the ones using lawn and garden equipment throughout the day, offering the potential for meaningful emissions reductions and health benefits. To put it into perspective, using a gas-powered lawnmower for 1 hour can produce roughly the same amount of emissions as driving 300 miles. You may have heard that before, but that's similar to driving from the North Colorado border to the South Colorado border on the interstate. Past ozone modeling also indicates that gas-powered lawn and garden equipment can produce roughly the same can produce about 6% of ozone levels on high ozone days in Larimer County, reinforcing the importance of this project. So we're really excited about that. Businesses in the community can also benefit from electrification through elimination of odors at use of the equipment, reduced exposure to air toxics, and decreased noise and vibration impacts. So, as you may know, by investing in electric equipment, businesses will not only reduce air pollution to create a healthier environment, but also align with Larimer County's commitment to sustainable practices. And now for the fun part, which is the grant details. Recipients will be awarded up to $6,000 per voucher, and that can be used to purchase commercial battery-powered landscaping equipment from American Green Zone Alliance, field-tested and certified brands, and that is through partnering retailers in the county. In addition to that voucher funding, the county will be providing free safety kits to recipients. That includes 2 free safety blankets and a TOA Smart Charger. Applicants will be selected from 10 to 12 of the remaining applicants from last application cycle this year, and funding will be prioritized for historically underrepresented and minority-owned businesses to help promote equitable economic opportunity. And also this year, we're aiming to send out a post-participation survey to participants to understand more about how the electric equipment is performing, learn a little bit more about the hours of use of the equipment to hopefully help us understand some of those emission savings. And then lastly on here, I wanted to talk about some other electrification incentive opportunities that are out there. That includes the Regional Air Quality Council's Commercial Lawn and Garden Grant. So that assists with the purchase of electric equipment to replace gas-powered equipment. And Colorado's Electric Equipment Tax Credit, which allows for tax credits for qualified retailers, and subsequent to that, a 30% discount on the purchase of electric equipment at the point of sale for residents. And links to these incentive programs and more information can be found on our department's website, as well as searching online for the term Larimer Air Quality. And you may have seen this photo, but on the right, it demonstrates a riding Mean Green electric lawnmower. And this was at a Fort Collins electric equipment demo event. They're very quiet. They're really fun to ride around in. And with that, I will pass it off to Leah for the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah.
Actually, Tom wanted us to drive one in as part of a display for you. Hello, Commissioners. My name is Leah Schneider. I'm with the Larimer County Health Department. I'm the Environmental Health Planner and Air Quality Supervisor. We wanted to we're going to update you on a couple other things that are going on, additional electrification opportunities. The City of Fort Collins and Larimer County Health Department have been working together. We've been trying to explore more opportunities in funding more of this electrification options. So we've been reaching out to the RAC. They recently submitted their application for some additional funding for the Weld and Larimer counties to expand their programs into our area. They offer several programs to help with improving air quality. Two of ours of interest are clean air auto repair and engines off. And clean air auto repair, that one's if you have a failing tailpipe emissions when you go in to get your annual emissions tested. This would offer funding to help you repair. And then the engines off includes a variety of programs just to replace fossil fueled engines with electric engines. And so we jointly, Fort Collins and the Health Department submitted a support letter with the RAC to CDOT's non-attainment area air pollution mitigation enterprise. It's a mouthful to say. And so we're supporting them in that effort. And I know Weld County was actually going to try to help in that too. We're hoping to see more funding in this area. While working with RAC, we did find out that Larimer County mobile units are actually eligible for the food truck electrification program, which that was kind of surprising. So what we can do, as long as your Larimer County food truck works in those other 7 ozone non-attainment counties, say like Boulder County or down in Denver, at least a couple of times you're eligible. And this picture right here is a picture of Hell's Coffee. It's one of our Larimer County mobile units that went through the process last year. They were actually at our sustainability event this year. They've been to a couple of other events. So the health department email blasted all of our mobile food vendors just to make them aware of this application, explain that if you are working down in these other ozone non-attainment areas, you are eligible. We provided the application links. We also provided information on 2 events that were showcasing mobile units that went through this process. They had one in Fort Collins that Noelle and I attended so that we could get more information. And we got to meet the owners of Hell's Coffee to understand their process a little bit more. And we are also in the process of working with the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization to find some additional partnerships and funding opportunities because they also receive a little bit of federal funding to help improve air quality. Next slide. And as Tom mentioned, we are upgrading our regulatory monitoring network here in Larimer County. We had a large gap, missing out on several monitoring opportunities between Fort Collins and Longmont. So we've added 3 new regulatory grade air monitors. And as you guys know, they are monitoring in Timnath, Fossil Creek Reservoir, and our Mahaffey Park in Loveland, West Loveland, is just about complete. These are regulatory grade monitors for ozone and nitrogen oxides. The Timnath site actually just got improved and now has particulate matter, coarse and fine. So that's also in the regulatory network. So this is, as we're moving into that lower standard that EPA issued for fine particulate matter. This is going to help us kind of understand how our region is doing. And then additional funding provided by the commissioners last summer. With that, we were going to try and do some long-term VOC monitoring, which is volatile organic compounds here in Larimer County. This is in conjunction with a research project that's going on this summer for the next 3 years. It's starting this summer, but it's CSU, the RAC, and Air Pollution Control Division. And they've received $1.3 million to monitor and analyze NOx and VOC emissions to understand where these sources, what sources are producing these, so that we can start planning to, better strengthen maybe state regulations or improve on, technologies to reduce emissions in the specific areas. Next slide. And just as a reminder, we are hosting a ribbon cutting on May 30th for our new shed in Loveland. Anyone is welcome to come. I know our commissioners are attending. Next slide. And you guys are familiar, we have the EPA Air Toxics. This is a environmental justice focused EPA Air grant. And we are collaborative. We're working with CSU, City of Fort Collins, Health Department. We received $500,000 for the next 3 years. And the point of this grant is really to monitor air toxics in more burdened communities and provide understandable air quality education, because it is pretty complex and we want to make sure that it's digestible to all in our community. So some of our monitoring activities, we've set up some stationary source monitoring at some of our schools in more burdened areas of Loveland and Berthoud. We're trying to evaluate some air toxics from some sources in that area to make sure that they're properly, they have the proper controls in place for their emissions, that they're properly permitted. We've done some mobile monitoring along the Mulberry Corridor, North Highway 287. We're also working with the Hickory Village Mobile Home Park because they had some suspicious odors from an industrial source down south of them. So we're exploring that right now. This grant, like I said, also provides community engagement and outreach. Last year, we focused on air quality in the arts. So we invited Kim Abels, an artist from California. She's an air quality activist. She really helped California strengthen their vehicle emission standards back in the 80s and with her smog collector process. And it's really just, there's a picture of it on our slide here. And you take a hard surface, you cut out, kind of like do a cutout pattern, and then you leave it out for an extended amount of time to see what collects on your plate. You could do this indoors, outdoors. And depending on how long you've left it out, you bring it back. In her case, I think she left this was just 12 days of smog in California that left that much particulate on her plate after she peeled off her negative. But she worked with some of our Poudre School District classrooms. She went in and did some instructing. She also worked with some of our committee that helps us with this EPA Toxics grant. And we displayed all of the artwork at the CSU Gregory Alicorn Museum of Art for 2 months. It also included some artwork completed by the staff, myself and Noelle, and some other exhibits. But for over 2 months, we had over 1,600 people come visit the display, understand more about air pollution and what's in the air and how you can visibly see it. She also had in the exhibit some work she had done earlier in Boulder County. We also had a family day where we had over 230 guests come in, and we had the engaging activities for youth, like taking Legos and creating VOC and NOx molecules and then breaking them into ozone molecules. And so it was really engaging. We had a lot of CSU students helping us in that effort. Air Pollution Control Division came up and offered a lot of education too and did some demos. So it's been great. And we're going to work on civil engagement this year with this grant. All right, next slide. Okay, and then you're going to see us out and about more often. We're trying to get to more public events like festivals, things like that. We really want to get out in the community and help the community understand sources of pollution and how they're regulated. We want them to learn ways that they can protect themselves and their family in cases of high pollution days like wildfires and ozone. We're also interested in encouraging people to reduce their emissions and offering practices. This is actually coinciding really well with the Climate Smart Future Ready. We partner a lot with that group in order to promote the electrification because obviously it's helping us with our ozone conditions in this area. And we're looking at EcoFest here in the future as well as Berthoud Days, possibly in June. And then Air Quality Awareness Week just happened last week. That was the first week of May. In Larimer County Communications, we had social media campaigns. So every day it had a new topic that was discussing something related to air quality, whether it be health impacts like asthma or, climate change, things along that line on all of our different social media channels. And then Noelle was able to reach out to some of our libraries in the community, and we provided books in English and Spanish because a lot of we weren't aware of this, but our libraries are participating, and they had air quality awareness stations where they would bring in a lot of different material to help understand pollution and, again, more that education of what you can do to help prevent it and to protect yourself. So we provided some books that the EPA has in English and Spanish about how air quality impacts your friends that may have a chronic illness like asthma and why they maybe have limitations on certain days. So making it easier, tangible for youth. Okay, and I think that's what we have for you guys today. If you have any questions.
Thank you. That was pretty comprehensive. Commissioner Cavallis, any questions or comments?
Yes, I have a couple of questions and a couple of comments. Regarding comments, just a lot of gratitude for all the amazing work that you folks do, showing up at events and trying to inform the public. I would offer that a couple of events coming up that are not listed here. One is the LaPorte Festival, the annual LaPorte Festival, which is scheduled for May 31st. And I have a contact name if that would be helpful. Uh, Red Feather Lakes has their various crafts fairs coming up tied to Memorial Day weekend and also I think the 4th of July weekend. So those might be some other opportunities to get to places that we normally don't get to. So happy to follow up with you if that's helpful.
Appreciate it.
A couple of my questions are, well, I seem to be focused on this, but regarding when people refill their cars with gas at the gas stations, are there best practices for how to do that so that because I do know that emissions come out of the gas cap and that doesn't help our air quality. Are there best practices for when we fill up our cars?
Yeah, and that's and these are some of the information that we share at the events. But yes, filling of your automobile, the goal being that you don't go past the click, that you don't keep trying to force the fuel in. So stop at the click has always been a promotional tactic. We also encourage fueling very early in the morning or late at night so that you don't have that heat and UV factor that would take those emissions and combine it to create ozone. But I mean, those are the two primary. Stop at the click and fill morning and evening. And that goes too for your, gas fueled handheld and your lawn and garden that you'll use at home.
Thank you, Leah. And I would add perhaps two other things that folks could do and wonder if you think they're good ideas. And that is, and I've developed this practice, and that is to wait until absolutely necessary to open the gas cap, keep it closed, and when you're ready to stick the nozzle in, then you open up the gas cap. And I don't know whether it's a silly thing, but I have gotten into the habit before I remove the nozzle with the first click, I kind of shake it off a bit so that the gasoline doesn't drip on the ground. Would that be another good idea?
Yeah, no, those are great practices because we have unfortunately, we have some older pumps throughout Colorado and some older vehicles that don't have a nice closing valve, a tight seal. So they are like when you have to unscrew your cap the old-fashioned way. We have more release of emissions because we don't have that protective valve inside. As it's not as tight, I guess you'd say. So those are good practices.
And what about the picture? Can you tell us a little bit about the infrared camera?
Oh, yeah. Noelle, Noelle's actually certified in it and has used it out at our.
I just have one more after that.
At our industrial sites like oil and gas, and we used it at some of our fueling stations. We're doing inspections now of our fueling stations to make sure that the deliveries themselves are actually in a vapor-controlled setup so that we're not releasing a lot of emissions during unloading of those large gasoline tanks. But yeah, do you want to mention a little bit
Sure,
about
just
how it works?
yeah, briefly. So the optical gas imaging camera allows us to visualize emissions that you can't see with your naked eye. So those includes carbon-based emissions, such as methane, that you may see from oil and gas sites, gas stations, if their stage 1 vapor recovery is not working. So it's been a really great tool to help us with inspections and complaint investigations.
Thank you. And if I may, Madam Chair, just one last question. And I imagine this one is for Tom, and don't want Tom to get off too easy this morning. And that is, can you explain why the Colorado Department of Health and Environment recently made a decision to request that we move into I think we're in a serious non-attainment, and this would move us into severe. What's the rationale behind that?
Yes, and you didn't let me off the hook. That's a very good question. And it's complicated, but in some pieces of it does allow for more resources from the federal government. So there would be kind of the tool bag would be open a little bit more, or a bigger tool bag for us. However, there could be some costs to us, such as a reblended fuel that has been discussed, and that fuel, when it's reblended, it's a different formula in the summer months, reduces the amount of precursor emissions. However, that does come at a cost, a little bit more a gallon. So that's one that's on the table being discussed. But the bottom line is, one, to give us an extension, a couple more years, and two, to give us some more tools or more other mitigation efforts to curb this and get us under 70 parts per billion. Because you got two standards, the 2008 standard, which was 75, 2015 is 70. We're not making the 2008 standard, at least we didn't last year. And that's complicated with the fires, the heat, climate change. So we got some things going against us. And so it's going to take a regional effort to really get us below at least the 75 parts per billion.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sure.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'll also add, because I'm on the Regional Air Quality Commission and the Non-Attainment Area Air Pollution Mitigation Enterprise and the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization, all of whom have responsibility over regional air quality, that obviously Tom was right in what he said. It gives us to 2032 to attain those standards. Also, we could potentially be sanctioned by not hitting those goals, and federal highway dollars would be at risk. And so that was another reason that the CDPHE decided to make that move. So it does buy us a little more time, and it buys a little more time for some of the statewide regulations that are trying to improve oil and gas emissions to really kind of kick in, is what they felt like too. But you know, as everyone was saying today, this is obviously a regional effort, and so I appreciate all the work that you're doing regionally and locally. I didn't know that we were eligible for some of those food truck dollars. That's really great. And the reason that we wouldn't have normally been is because Dr. Cog, the Denver Regional Council of Governments, has a lot of money, a lot more than the Metropolitan Planning Organization that we have with Weld County. And so they're able to to put a lot of funds towards air quality, whereas we just don't get the same level of dollars. But it's really good that we can, that we're doing what we can. One of the questions that I had is so just so folks know too, at the Regional Air Quality Commission, we're working on other control strategies to improve air quality. Because we don't have to include those in the state implementation plan this year, because of the voluntary non-attainment status, that we will be creating a blueprint of control strategies to also improve air quality. One of the questions that I had was around anti-idling. So obviously, are there any local anti-idling? At one point, I remember when we opened the air quality the location in Timnath, that there was somebody there from Poudre School Districts, and they were going to try maybe a pilot program at Dunn or one of the elementary schools. Do we know anything about that?
That And we haven't touched base again. That is one of the discussions that we're having with these because, as you know, pick up or drop off and pick up lines at schools when parents just kind of sit in their car almost for 15, 30 minutes idling. So one of the idling, that is part of RAC's programs, and we're hoping to get some more of their signs and some help with those types of things and pilot that at some of those schools. I know Air Pollution Control Division was actually interested in some of the NOx emissions they may pick up from the idling of parents around the Timnath Elementary monitor site. So yeah, we are. That is something Noelle and I were actually soliciting information from the public. How, would you support a program like this while we were at our sustainability booth and collecting votes from the public through mason jars, where we would collect their. So we have a certain. We haven't tallied all of our votes yet, but yes, it is an interest program because I know in town, City of Fort Collins has no idling at the railroad tracks if you can. And now everybody has a lot of people in newer vehicles. When you're at a stop, they just kind of shut off and then they start again when you activate. So, but yes, we do want to explore more with that. No idling at schools.
Yeah, and you think about, I mean, parents would do almost anything to protect their children. And yet people run their cars at the schools with all those little kids and all those little lungs. And I think that it's not, I think people just don't either understand it or know how dangerous that is.
I know, and as we're getting into this warmer month, people will be idling in those high temperatures, and the UV light will be stronger, so we will have more potential for ozone formation. And sitting in your car with your air conditioning on too. So we'll have to. It'll be a big change of habit. So it'll take some outreach and education, not just signs. Obviously.
Right. And the Regional Air Quality Commission has simple steps, better air, and it's really steps that everyone can take to be, and Commissioner Kavalis was highlighting some of the things around how you can pump gas or get gas later, how if you have a gas powered, please don't use it kind of during those, sunlight lit hours. But I will tell you, having an electric mower changed my life. Your garage doesn't smell. It's not loud. You can mow early in the morning and not bother your neighbors. I mean, there's so many benefits, and that's the thing about these kind of things. There's so many benefits, and with all the rebates that are out there right now, it's the perfect time, and they've actually come down in price too. So I would highly encourage people to look into that and get rid of those gas mowers. Well, thank you very much. Lorinda, do you have anything you wanted to add?
I think I just want to applaud the department and the staff. This is something, air quality is something that you've always had top of mind, but you have really embraced it in these past few years. The floor camera, the partnership with City of Fort Collins, the regional approach, you've really reached outside of Larimer County because we know that air travels across the region and we all need to breathe it. And so thank you very much for the work you've done. I know it's not always easy to reach out and try to find partners in places where you can provide the kind of education that you do, but air quality is so important to all of us for many, many reasons, of course. And it's great to see the way you all have embraced it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just add that, yeah, we've had a lot of people in the community that are concerned, and rightly so. And I think really, really grateful for your response to that and really tackling this because it is a huge problem. We can't do it alone, but you are doing really remarkable work, and I really appreciate that very much. So with that, we'll have Commissioner Kavalis read the proclamation and make a motion for Clean Air Month.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, colleagues. A joint proclamation designating May 2025 as Clean Air Month, Board of Larimer County Commissioners and the Larimer County Board of Health. Whereas May 25th is National Clean Air Month, and Larimer County recognizes the critical role air quality plays in the health of all residents and visitors. And whereas National Clean Air Month is an annual observance that aims to raise awareness about air quality issues and encourage actions to reduce air pollution. And whereas emissions from vehicles, industry, household products, vegetation, and lawn garden equipment combined with sunlight on hot, dry, stagnant summer days to form ground level ozone, impacting children, older adults, people with lung disease, and people with heart disease. And whereas the United States Environmental Protection Agency has downgraded the Northern Front Range from a serious to severe violator of federal ozone standards, triggering new rules meant to improve local air quality in the region. And whereas the Larimer County Department of Health and Environment, LCDHE, has added resources and staffing, monitoring equipment, monitoring equipment replacement programs, and tools to aid in achieving compliance with regulations and activities to address air quality in our area. And whereas the county, through the LCDHE, has worked with community partners and municipalities to increase the number of regulatory air quality monitors in Larimer County from 2 to 5 monitors. And whereas the county, through the LCDHE, encourages residents to replace gas-powered lawn equipment with electric or battery-operated equipment and provide financial support for such initiatives. And whereas the LCDHE is partnering with the City of Fort Collins, the Regional Air Quality Council, Colorado State University, Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, and other organizations to work together to promote clean air. Now, therefore, be it jointly proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County, Colorado, and the Larimer County Board of Health that the month of May 2025 is recognized as National Clean Air Month in Larimer County, Colorado, and 2 residents of Larimer County are encouraged to promote air quality and air quality awareness in their communities, including taking simple steps to reduce ozone-causing emissions, taking fewer car trips, using alternative forms of transportation, replacing gas-powered lawn equipment with electric or battery-operated equipment, using products with lower volatile organic compounds, and refueling in the evenings. Done this 13th day of May 2025, and I think I'll stop there. The motion, I move to approve the proclamation declaring May 2025 as National Clean Air Month. Ta-da.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item?
No, just thank you.
All right. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 2-0. We'll stop for a photo.
Oh boy.
We are back, and we have another proclamation. This time, the proclamation declares the week of May 11th through May 17th as Economic Development Week. And is it Janine that's going to be? So Janine Lettingham from Economic and Workforce Development is here to kick off this item and tell us a little bit about what you're doing. Welcome.
Thank you. And
First, I just want to say thank you for that incredible education. I too have a gas mower, and I'm very convicted now to go switch that out this year. And there are rebates, which I learned about. So thank you very much for that presentation. Good morning, commissioners and everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and for recognizing Economic Development Week. And this year's theme is celebrating collaboration and partnerships through this proclamation. For those of you that I haven't met yet, in the back too, I'm Janine Lettingham, the Associate Director for Economic and Workforce Development. So, this year's theme feels especially fitting, and I'm excited that we have this letter of support for the Economic Development District on the slate as well this week. Because economic development is truly about collaboration. It's about building trust and building partnerships and collaborating to bring together business, government, education, and community partners to strengthen our regional economy. You really can't do it alone. So it is a team sport. Success comes when we all align our resources and we work together to try to work on hard challenges that we need to solve as communities and invest in a shared vision for a stronger, more resilient future. Today, we have the privilege of having a couple of our valued Larimer County businesses with us today, and the City of Fort Collins Economic Health Office, and our own great staff doing a lot of amazing work around the county. To talk about that kind of collaboration in action and the impact that it's creating in our community. So we want to welcome first Tim Seitz, General Manager with Anheuser-Busch Brewery in Fort Collins, and Tyler Manzales from the City of Fort Collins Economic Health Office. They're going to speak about the partnership between AB and the City of Fort Collins and Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development to support some very big continued investment in the community and retention of high-paying jobs in the county. We're also pleased to welcome Jody Steger from Fiber Lock Industries, who is going to share about how our ongoing partnership has helped them address hiring challenges that have been very prevalent in their industry with some very creative solutions, getting connected to diverse talent pools and meaningful career opportunities for those diverse talent pools. Their innovative approach to recruitment and retention really, I believe, and we all believe, is a best practice for other organizations and industries that are part of our key industries. So I will step aside and let these important people come up and share their stories. So if Tim and Tyler, if you want to come up.
Thank you, Janine. And welcome, Tim and Tyler. Glad to have you here.
Good morning. My name is Tim Seitz. I am the Senior General Manager of the Anheuser-Busch Brewery here in Fort Collins. I'm here to say thank you for the support and really the partnership between Larimer County, the City of Fort Collins, and Anheuser-Busch for a 39-year relationship that we've had, but more importantly, more recently, we had the opportunity to work together with the three entities to bring a $15 million project to the brewery, which is a massive upgrade to a 40-year-old facility. And ultimately, the intent of the project was to optimize our carbon footprint throughout the entirety of our supply chain. It's a glass bottle production line that we made much more efficient, so much more that we reduced from 3 bottle lines to 2. And more importantly, it also helps the glass supplier that is in Weld County, who provides us our bottles, be more efficient in their work. So it's really a big step for us. The support was critical. The way our company works with 12 breweries across the United States, whoever has the best return on investment gets the project and the money, and we were competing with 4 of our sister breweries to get it. So this was critical for us, and that relationship means a lot to the brewery and the team members of the brewery. And I will say, to me, the most important part of this project was the training grant support, that we were educated through both entities, that we had the ability to get this training grant. We received over $45,000 for training for our team members and for our young leaders, which has been very impactful within the brewery. So very excited and very much want to support and say thank you for everything that the economic health departments of both groups do to support industry in the area.
Thank you, Tim.
Good morning, commissioners, and to my esteemed colleagues in the room. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And thank you, Tim, for sharing more about Anheuser-Busch's exciting expansion and their longstanding presence in Fort Collins. To the folks in the room who I don't know, my name is Tyler Manzales. I'm the Senior Manager of the Economic Health Office with the City of Fort Collins. And it's especially meaningful to be having this conversation during Economic Development Week, a time that we set aside to recognize the people, partnerships, and investments that shape the economic health of our communities. The AB expansion is a perfect example of what strong economic development looks like in action. It's not just about business growth, it's about shared values and collaborative problem solving. Our team and the wider City of Fort Collins team has been proud to partner with AB and Larimer County every step of this way. The expansion reflects a clear long-term commitment to Northern Colorado, to Fort Collins, to Larimer County, and one that advances both economic opportunity and environmental sustainability. This expansion, which will make AB's Fort Collins facility their second carbon-neutral facility in the United States, shows how private industry can lead boldly while aligning to our community's climate goals. Above and beyond their sustainability goals, we also celebrate their workforce and apprenticeship partnership with the Colorado Community College System. This partnership is helping to train the next generation of skilled workers, creating pathways into stable, well-paying careers right here in our region. And just as important as the outcomes has been the process. This was not a one-way ask. It was a collaboration marked by trust, responsiveness, and a shared vision. That kind of partnership is what allows big projects like this to move forward in a way that benefit both the business community and the broader community. So during this Economic Development Week, we're not just recognizing metrics and milestones, we're recognizing what's possible when we work together. Thank you again to Anheuser-Busch for choosing to grow here, and to our partners at the county and across the city organization who helped make it happen. Happy Economic Development Week.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you for that. And I believe, Tim, that grant was the Skill Advance grant that we were able to land with the state for that training and upskilling. And it was a retention of, the numbers may be different now, but 475 jobs. So huge project. Thank you. So, Jody, if you would mind coming up, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for the audience. I also have an electric mower. I do, and I love it. Yes, for all of the reasons. Because
All the cool kids are doing it. I mean, get on board, folks.
if you don't have one, you're missing the train. Okay, so thank you for the audience and the opportunity to speak. I'm here to talk in support of our ongoing relationship, and the encouragement that we received from the Larimer County Workforce Development Crew. What has that support looked like for us? Well, first of all, I guess I should back up. Fiberlock. Fiberlock is a 30-year veteran of the Northern Colorado economic world. We have about 50 employees. For those that don't know what we do, we make graphic embellishments that go on uniforms. Usually the soccer school uniform markets are our biggest. And that ties into a little bit of what our workforce challenge is, because school uniforms and soccer uniforms get put on kids in the fall, and so they have to be built in the summer. And that means we have a very seasonal business. And so our challenge is to try to figure out how to ramp up, 15 to 20% more for May through August usually. So we have partnered with Larimer County's team to try to figure out how to address that. Here are a few of the programs that we've been able to take advantage of. We have a long-standing performance participation with the Manufacturing Sector Partnership, which delivers good candidates to us for summer internships. I don't know exactly how many years, but it feels like 10 or more that we've been doing that. And I'm excited to announce that this year even, the flywheel keeps moving. So I just got a call from an intern who came on board for the sector partnership a couple of years ago, and he said, "Hey, I'm looking for a summer job." And I was like, "Come back, absolutely." So this is his third summer working with us. So when that happens and you keep people coming back to you, that gives us, we don't have to train that person up again. And it also gives him summer employment because he's a college student and is able to find a way to, keep money flowing into his pocket. So the sector partnership, very cool. We were also connected with the WBLIP grant program that was administered through the Chamber of Commerce last year. And our goal there was to develop an ongoing, more enriched internship program to participate with local youth, especially the Poudre School District. And that was kind of a cool thing. So we had always done internships, but sometimes they felt a little lowbrow. So what we tried to do with that one is make it a little bit more structured. So when students come in and they work with us, they rotate through the departments, so they learn all about all the different things that we do. They get a weekly check-in with a supervisor for coaching. They keep a notepad and where they, reflect. They're assigned a research job or a project while they're with us, and then at the culmination of that internship, they present to our management team the findings of that. So I just heard from one of our interns last week. He did a whole presentation about robotics and how he identified cost-benefit analysis for how robotics could be incorporated into some of our work. So I feel like we've brought up the level of participation. The benefits for the students are obvious, but it's also a benefit to us. We see it's easier for us to attract students and workforce when we have those kinds of programs that we can speak to. Job fairs, we've been participating in multiple of those. Last year at Woodward, we brought 2 students on from that. Introductions to community resources. I feel like every time I get an invitation from the Larimer team, I'm like, never say no to the invitation. And so we keep ending up connecting with different resources that have really made big improvements to the way that we do business. So one of them was the Lutheran Family Services. We were asked just to at least think about how new Americans might participate in our workforce. So I sat through a discussion Nancy Murray put on about what the statewide programming around that was. That led to a conversation with Lutheran. We brought on 5 new Americans for this year's work. All of those folks are monolingual. And so that was a little bit like, oh, okay, well, haven't done that before, but we're like, okay, we're going to try it. So 4 of them are Rohingya speakers, so there's not very much translation in there. So we've had to figure out how to make a lot of our communication, our performance evaluations and stuff, nonverbal. Like, how do we communicate, progress and performance in a way that doesn't rely on language as much? So I appreciate all those connections. Many times it is the encouragement that we've gotten from the team of just, have you thought about this? Have you considered that? Could we put you in touch with so-and-so? And those have always led to something. And we're super grateful about that. That encouragement, that trust, the relationship that the Anheuser-Busch representative was discussing has also been true for us. And I think probably the biggest and most significant impact that I've had is with Sandra Jackham, who I specifically like to recognize. She and Nancy have both been good partners to us. But a few years ago, when we were really struggling with, right coming out of the pandemic, we had demand boost, right? Suddenly a lot more need. And we were using a temporary workforce. People were coming in and they were being provided to us by a third party employment service business. And they were coming in and getting trained and going out the door. It was kind of a nightmare. And Sandra said, well, you can hire your own temporaries. And I said, I didn't know I could do that. And so then we suddenly took that in house and we began to actually control the people that we brought on the team. That has made a dramatic improvement in our culture. We are now, our turnover rate has gone way down. We're able to, selectively pick people and develop them and be intentional about that. And all of that came just by a little fairy dust got sprinkled in the mix. So I really appreciate that fairy dust. I know that financially we've benefited, but organizationally, I think this has made us stronger. So I appreciate the contributions that you guys have made. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
Thanks very much, Jody. And congratulations to the team. So, if you haven't had the privilege of touring Fiberlock, I would highly suggest it. You will never look at flocked logos the same ever again. It is a very complicated process. And they also manufacture mouse pads, those rugs that we all love. I know when I was at Manufacturer's Edge, we literally fought over those. So they're really beautiful products. All right. Thank you very much for being here with us, our business and economic development partners. Are there any questions for us from you?
Thank you, Janine. Any questions, Commissioner?
I don't have any questions at the appropriate time. I'll offer a couple of brief comments.
Yeah, you can offer some comments and now.
You're very kind and generous today.
I try to be, as opposed to other days.
I know time is valuable, and I'll just say, again, expression of gratitude, speaking for my colleagues, and they can speak for themselves, but just a lot of gratitude for these partnerships. I would say that if you look at the department, it's the Larimer County Economic and Workforce Development Department. So those are the two lenses that we use as far as how do we create a sustainable, diverse, resilient regional economy that looks at primary employers like Anheuser-Busch, like Fiberlock, that pay higher wages and those kinds of jobs. So it is a wonderful collaboration. It's a good theme. It's a very real partnership. It extends between all of our wonderful staff that are here, who also recognize that if we want folks to engage in a meaningful way in the workforce, that there are oftentimes barriers to properly engaging in the workforce, whether they be the cost of transportation, the cost of housing, certainly the costs of childcare. So I think we're all working well together as a team, supporting our businesses, whether they're small businesses, food trucks, or whether they're businesses that have been around for 39 years. I was here when there was a lot of interesting conversation about the pros and cons of having a brewery like Anheuser-Busch Brewery built here. And overall, I think that was a very good decision, of course, and your commitment to sustainability. And glad that we could provide various appropriate incentives, to help make that happen. And because I know it's very competitive, I understand it's very competitive in terms of your corporation, your company, and who gets funds to upgrade their facilities and all the rest. So a lot of gratitude. Thank you. And we should also mention that and certainly with the city of Fort Collins, our municipal partners, but we shouldn't lose sight that this is one area where we have really good cooperation and partnerships with our friends to the east, Weld County, and periodically we'll have joint meetings where folks from their workforce will come and ours, plus commissioners, elected folks, and others, business people. So I think that's another example of the collaboration and the partnership. Best stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I just want to thank everyone who came, Tim from Anheuser-Busch and Jody from Fiberlock. I think really good illustrative examples of what we do in the economic health and workforce development area. It's, these partnerships are really important. It's important to look regionally, and so I'm glad that you have that vision. But just some of the examples. First of all, with Tim, like, awesome that you're, those shared values around carbon, being carbon neutral and really caring for the planet. I mean, on top of being a business provider, I mean, just kudos to you for that work. That's remarkable. And then Jody, really, really great to hear your, story and some of the struggles that you've had with workforce and how you've, and there again, really admire the fact that you were willing to look at new Americans who are needing jobs and needing job skills. And I'm not even sure much about the Rohingya language, and I'm sure you're learning daily about that. But really being open to that, bringing in new people and being able to train new folks to be able to do jobs, because we want a healthy economy. We want people to be employed in meaningful work and find jobs and be able to take care of their families. And so this work is really crucial. It's really foundational to to our community. And so we're really grateful to our team here at the county and the people that partner with us. It's a great relationship. It was, again, really happy to hear those stories from you all today. So I will ask our county manager if she wanted to say a few words.
I guess briefly, I'll just say that this kind of collaboration is special for Northern Colorado. I've lived in other communities where there's competition. The economic developers don't speak to one another, they don't collaborate. And you all really do work for the value and good of the region, and you are to be congratulated for that work. It is unusual and it is very special. And I think just to stress that folks often think about economic development as attracting new business, and that is certainly part of the work. But keeping businesses alive and vibrant and supported in our local economy, maintaining those jobs that people rely on, that our community relies on, is perhaps even more important. And it's great to see two existing businesses being the examples talked about today, because I think that really is the heart and soul of economic development, is keeping those businesses vibrant in our community. So thanks for your work, thanks for your stories, and it's great to celebrate this week.
Thank you. Thank you, Janine. I appreciate it, you being here. Commissioner Kafalis, I will ask you to read the proclamation and make the motion.
And actually, I'd like to share the love. Would you like to read this particular proclamation?
Oh, sure. Now I got Oh my gosh. Okay, let me find it.
I have it if you don't. I'm sorry.
All right, that's all right. We got a lot of proclamations today and only two of us, so I would be happy to do that.
Thanks.
So this is a proclamation declaring May 11th through 17th, 2025 as Economic Development Week. Whereas economic development professionals across Larimer County and Northern Colorado work collaboratively to strengthen the region's economy by aligning efforts in workforce development, business attraction and retention, infrastructure investment, advancing sector partnerships that support key industry clusters, driving shared regional economic priorities, and advancing a unified vision of inclusive growth, opportunity, and long-term prosperity for all. And whereas economic development professionals champion and support small businesses, entrepreneurs, and inventors and innovators, helping catalyze new ideas, growing local enterprises, and contributing to the unique character and vibrancy of our region. And whereas these professionals play a vital role in cultivating regional partnerships across government, business, education, nonprofit, infrastructure and development partners, and economic development organizations, bringing together diverse stakeholders to ensure long-term economic resilience, inclusivity, and adaptability in a rapidly evolving economy. And whereas economic development promotes access by implementing tools, programs, and policies that expand opportunity and support a vibrant future for all residents. And whereas in 2025, we celebrate the power of collaboration, recognizing the individuals and organizations who partner across the region and across sectors to advance equitable economic growth, strengthen economic resilience, and create lasting positive impact for communities across the county and region. Now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners, proudly recognize the Economic and Workforce Development Department, regional partners, local businesses, and workforce participants for their commitment to Larimer County's economic growth by proclaiming May 11th through 17th, 2025 as Economic Development Week, and encourage all residents to recognize the essential role economic development plays in building a strong and sustainable Larimer County. Would you like to read the motion, though?
If you insist, yes. I move to approve the proclamation declaring May 11th through the 17th as 2025, as Economic Development Week.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to emphasize 3 points that the presenters made. One is the person from FiberLock, the importance of work-based learning and the opportunities that we provide with internships and on-the-job training, especially when they can be paid. I think that's really critical. I think you also referenced the manufacturing sector partnership, and that's a whole thing that we really didn't get into, that the various industry sector partnerships and how important that is. And then finally, the reference to trying to be as non-carbon as we can be. In the old days, there used to be what I think was perhaps not the most accurate juxtaposition, that if you wanted to do environmental protection or environmental sustainability, it was at odds with good solid economic development. But we've learned over the years it's complementary. So I wanted to reinforce those 3 points. Thank you, Madam Chair. Very kind.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Commissioner. Well said. So there is a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 2-0. We will stop and take a photograph if everybody wants to do that. Thank you. Hello, we are back, and our next item is a proclamation recognizing May as Foster Care Appreciation Month. We have Angela Mead, Deputy Division Manager for Larimer County Department of Human Services, to help us kick off this item. Welcome, Angela.
Good morning. I have a confession. I have a gas mower, but I'm going to go buy an electric. I learned a lot today.
Excellent.
We have a theme going on, right? Yeah. Well, good morning. I'm Angela Mead, Deputy Division Manager with the Larimer County Department of Human Services, Child, Youth, and Family Services Division. I'm here today to present the Proclamation for Foster Care Appreciation Month. Joining me are Gina Hamilton, who is a resident of Larimer County and a foster parent who has been fostering for over 30 years and has had over 100 children in her care. Isn't that amazing? Also joining me is Melissa Van Kooten, who is our lead foster care worker who has been supporting foster children and foster families for over 8 years. Before presenting the proclamation and allowing you to hear from our guests, I do have a few talking points that I'd like to share, highlighting our appreciation for foster parents in Larimer County, and then I'd also like to speak to some of the more urgent foster care needs that we have in Larimer County. So first of all, I'd like to just speak briefly about how fortunate we are in Larimer County to have the dedicated foster families that we have. They really open up their homes and their families, and we so appreciate their dedication and support. Gina Hamilton happens to be one of those foster parents, and she is just an extraordinary individual. She was recognized by Realities for Children as Foster Parent of the Year. Gina is someone who has opened up her heart and her home to adolescents who have faced incredible challenges. Her love, commitment, and ability to create stability and hope has transformed lives in immeasurable ways. And I would echo that same sentiment of all of the foster families in Larimer County. They just do amazing work. It was recently shared with me from a youth that was placed in Gina's home. He stated, "I have been in so many different foster homes, and Gina is so different. She makes me feel like I can be me and that everything is going to be okay. She has a positive outlook on everything, and she makes me feel okay." Her story proves that families in our community can step forward and make a difference in the lives of so many children. I hear accolades from caseworkers all the time about the importance of fostering and the impact that so many of them are having in the lives of children and youth in our community. So we are eternally grateful for everything that they do. So I want to speak just briefly about why family-based care is so important. Children and youth do better when they remain in our community, when they're surrounded by supportive relationships and they're connected to their families and schools during the most challenging times of their lives. Foster families create safe, nurturing environments where youth can experience structure, trust, and unconditional support. These are key factors in their healing and in achieving success in their lives. Youth in foster homes have higher chances of building positive relationships, developing life skills, and achieving lifetime stability, compared to those youth who may be placed for long durations of time in institutional care. Foster care is necessary. And when children cannot remain safely in their own homes, or if kinship care is not a viable option for them. Our county is facing a critical time right now in the foster care area. We are in need of foster parents who can address the care of children with special needs, and I'm going to speak briefly to those needs. These children and youth are among the most vulnerable in our care, and without appropriate placements, their well-being and long-term outcomes are at serious risk. We urgently need families who can provide and not just shelter, but the understanding and love and structure and compassion that are needed. When these homes are available, children stabilize more quickly and they require fewer interventions and experience greater chances of healing from their trauma. The first urgent need we have is for foster families who are willing to care for adolescents. Adolescents in foster care face unique challenges. They may have endured significant emotional and behavioral struggles due to past trauma and adversity. Too often, these youth are placed in residential or group home settings where their emotional growth and healing can be limited. Research and experience show that family-like settings provide stability, nurture, and guidance, and offering a real chance for young people to build resilience and to thrive. I'd also like to highlight the need for LGBTQIA+ youth. While all foster children need safe and loving homes, adolescents face unique challenges. And for the LGBTQIA+ youth, the need for affirming families is even more critical. Many of these young people experience rejection, homelessness, or instability, making it vital for them to be placed in homes where they are respected and feel supported. We have an opportunity in Larimer County for foster families to have a transformative impact for these youth. Families who provide love, acceptance, and stability can help LGBTQIA+ youth thrive, ensuring they grow into confident and empowered adults. And lastly, I'd like to just highlight the need for care providers to care for children and youth with intellectual or severe emotional disabilities. There is an urgent need in our community for foster families who are willing and prepared to care for children and youth with these type of disabilities. These young people deserve stability, compassion, and the chance to thrive in a supportive home. When families step forward to meet this need, they become a lifeline, not only for the child, but for the entire system that's working to protect and serve them. We are calling on those with heart, patience, and resilience to open their homes and help ensure that no child is left waiting for the care that they so desperately deserve. So it's a call to action. We do have a need for foster families in Larimer County, and especially those who are ready to support adolescents, LGBTQ+IA, and children with intellectual and severe emotional disabilities. The time has never been greater. If you have ever considered fostering, now is the time. These young people deserve, again, safe, affirming homes built on compassion, inclusion, and this very important sense of community. Every child deserves a chance, and I believe that together we can be the ones to give it. You can visit our website to learn how you can become a certified foster parent. Thank you for your time. I'd like to turn the mic over to Melissa Van Kooten to introduce our guest, Gina Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Welcome, Melissa.
Hey, good morning. My name is Melissa Van Kooten, and I'm the lead worker on the foster and kinship team with Larimer County. And I have worked as Gina's foster caseworker for the last 5 years. And as Angie said, Gina's specialty or area of expertise is caring for adolescent males between the ages of 15 to 21. Being kind, patient, supportive, and inclusive are only a few of the attributes that make Gina an exceptional foster parent. Gina is a strong advocate for the youth who are placed in her home. One of her values is ensuring sustainability for each youth placed in her care. Each time she says yes to a placement, she's committed to caring for that youth long term. Gina creates not only safety for the youth in her home, but nurtures their growth. She holds youth accountable, helping them grow, learn, and thrive. She holds high expectations and treats the youth as typical teens and young adults, giving them opportunities to make decisions, experience failures, and grow. She encourages them while also allowing them to fail and provides a safe place when they do. She's always willing to learn more and grow in her knowledge and understanding of what it takes to raise teenagers with complex trauma and sometimes years of system involvement.
She is committed to maintaining relationships with each adolescent she's cared for, even after these youth reunify with their family or transition to independent living. Gina's committed to checking in with them regularly, inviting them to dinner, and extending her support in tangible ways. Gina has made an incredible impact on the lives of foster youth in Larimer County, and it was an honor to watch her win the 2025 Foster Parent of the Year Award through Realities for Children. And I believe Gina has something that she would like to share as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Welcome, Gina.
Welcome. This is not me to stand up here. I would much rather be one-on-one with my kiddo, talking about how he's feeling, what's going on, and how we can get to where he needs to be. So this is really, this is hard for me, but we do need more foster parents. We need, especially the adolescent foster parents. The team I have is fantastic at vetting what I can do and making sure I get the ones that I can help the most. I have a short thing from a kiddo who I had for 4 years and had been in service in the system since he was 8. And it's not about this. It's the joy that I get from seeing how well he is succeeding now. It says moving into your home and being accepted into your home was the best thing to ever happen to me. The trauma and the abuse never stopped until I moved in with you. I truly appreciate all the freedom and the respect you have given me. So it's all about the kids. It's how we can help the kids and get them to go back into the community and succeed. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Gina. All right. Commissioner, any questions or comments?
Just a couple of comments. Certainly, thank you, Gina, and staff for all the hard work and the good work and the important work. It's interesting that there are 3 proclamations that we've had today. To me, it sort of reminds me of, we're all part of this tapestry, and all the pieces have to kind of flow together. And, in the beginning, we talked about the importance of clean air and what we can do to make the air clean. That's so important. Then we talked about good jobs. Having meaningful work is really important, whether you're a younger person or an older adult. And here we are talking about the children, because we often, I think we need to probably greet each other more by asking, how are the children? And we've had that conversation before. So I think it's a tapestry, and I think it's exemplified by these 3 proclamations. I appreciate the emphasis on kinship care, and we know that it's better to, if kids have to be out of their home because of the circumstances, it's better to place them with kin or in foster homes rather than in group settings or congregate care. And I think the county over the years, has done a great job of being very committed to that. And if you look at the little pie graphs, our biggest percentage is, kids that have to be placed out of their home of origin, their family of origin. It's not so much in congregate settings, so that's a good thing. I would also mention very quickly that in my role with the State Board of Human Services, just on Friday, we approved second reading of 2 rules having to do with kinship foster care, non-certified kinship care, in terms of reimbursement, and also in terms of rule revisions, which hopefully makes it a bit easier to become involved as a kinship care provider. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, thank you, Angela and Melissa and Gina, for being here. Really appreciate certainly hearing the call to action. So would encourage folks to try it out and see what it's about, because it is very rewarding. When I was young, my parents were foster parents, and we had a few different children, and we still talk about them and, wonder how they're doing. And this was in Chicago in the 70s, so they're middle-aged folks at this point. But it was a really meaningful experience for my family, and like I said, those bonds are strong, and we still have those really fond memories. And Gina, I just want to say thank you so much. I mean, you are doing remarkable work in the community. You deserve every accolade and every award that's out there. I mean, handling adolescence is difficult in the best of circumstances, and you don't get the best of circumstances. And so your willingness to do that is remarkable. And I know this wasn't your comfort level, so we really appreciate you coming out. You did just fine, first of all. And second of all, it's good for people to hear, from you that this is enriching your life and their lives, and that it can be done, and that it's important work to do, and that it's really fulfilling. It feels good, right? I mean, it feels good to put people on their way. And I've said this dozens of times, but this work is some of the most important work we do in our community, right? If we're not raising good kids and taking care of families, then all the rest of the work isn't that important, right? And so kudos for over 100 young people that really experienced stability and love and home, maybe some of them for the first time. And clearly with the letter you read, really was a profound impact. So, in our lives, we're always searching for ways to make a difference, ways to make our lives meaningful, right? And this is such a good way for families that can open their homes to foster care, really. So I just encourage people to check it out. Staff will help you through this process. You have somebody that helps you kind of figure out what kids are going to work in your home, and so that you're never left alone in this circumstance, and I think that's a really important point. But so yeah, I mean, thank you for calling attention to the issues that we have in our community and the help that we need, and I hope people will answer that call. So with that, I will have Commissioner Kafalis. You'll read this proclamation, and we'll make the motion, and then if you'll stick around, we'll take a photo.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, thank you, Gina and colleagues. Proclamation Foster Care Appreciation Month 2025. Excuse me. Whereas every child deserves a loving, stable, and supportive home, and yet many children in our community face uncertain circumstances and hardship. And whereas Larimer County is deeply grateful for the foster families who offer safe, nurturing environments where children and youth can heal, grow, and thrive. And whereas more than 57 dedicated foster families in Larimer County and thousands across Colorado embody the spirit of compassion by providing not only a home, but also a foundation for meaningful connections, stability, and hope. And whereas currently in Larimer County, approximately 189 children are placed in foster care on an average daily basis, and 7 youth are placed in congregate care annually. Whereas foster kinship and adoptive families stand alongside birth families in times of crisis, guiding them towards reunification and resilience while ensuring that every child's well-being remains a priority. Whereas there remains a growing need for foster families, especially those who can support older children, youth with special needs, sibling groups, and LGBTQIA plus youth, reaffirming the importance of inclusivity in foster care. And whereas individuals, businesses, and organizations throughout Larimer County can play a role in strengthening the foster care system by advocating, mentoring, and supporting families who open their hearts and homes to children in need. And whereas we honor the unwavering dedication of foster parents, child welfare professionals, and community residents whose commitment ensures that children in foster care receive the love, stability, and opportunities they deserve. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Larimer County proudly designates May 2025 as Foster Care Appreciation Month, encouraging all residents to acknowledge, support, and celebrate the profound contributions of foster families and care providers in creating a brighter future for children, and youth in our community. dated today. The motion, I move to approve the proclamation declaring May 2025 as Foster Care Appreciation Month.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion?
Don't think so.
Okay. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 2-0, and we will stop for a photo. Thank you.
Yay.
We are back, and we are done with our proclamations and our discussion items for this morning. And so we will move on to our next agenda item, which is our county manager update.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll keep it relatively short. Two major themes last week. One was around our budget preparation. We had a budget retreat with you all that was kind of a kickoff to where we are in the process. We had a strategic leadership committee meeting and a department head meeting that also focused on preparation for the budget process. And I will call the public attention to a work session we have next Wednesday, setting budget targets, going over the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges our departments indicate that they're facing, including federal and state funding limitations that we're dealing with that do flow to our community, and the work that we're doing to prepare for that. So anyone who's interested should tune into that Wednesday at 1:30. Certainly welcome to come to the second floor of this building, 200 West Oak, if you'd like to be there in person. And then Friday, I had the opportunity to participate in a recruitment interview process for our new community corrections director. We had 4 highly qualified candidates. I'm really happy that it's Emily Humphrey, our Community Justice Alternatives Director's decision, not mine to make. Those 4 candidates were very strong. The teams involved were all very complimentary about the process. And I'm hoping this week we will have a new community corrections department director. So good luck, Emily, with that decision.
Thank you, Lorinda. We'll look forward to meeting that new person and seeing who that is. Commissioner, any questions or comments for Lorinda? No. All right. Thank you, Lorinda. So we'll move on to Commissioner activity reports. Commissioner Kafalas, you're up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will strive to be brief. Just mention a couple of things, and I think a couple of things that we attended together. But I had 2 community conversations this past week. One was up at Red Feather Lakes. I appreciate that our assistant county manager joined me. It was nice to carpool together and get to know each other a little bit better. And we had a good turnout of folks, a lot of good discussion. We did some follow-up. People were glad that we were able to follow up. And a lot of the conversation focused on an area that community is really focused on, and that is trying to establish some type of rural healthcare center, medical clinic. And so doing what we can to support that effort. Then on Saturday we had where was it? LaPorte Community Conversation, and we may have had about 30 people there. And a good thrust of that conversation was an interest in the community somehow acquiring the old fire station number 7. Puda Fire Authority built a new fire station, state of the art. They have the old building; it's on the market, and they would really like to see that as a community center. I've been chatting with our county manager and other folks to get ideas. We had a good meeting, a lot of good questions, a lot of good ideas, and we're hoping to do a follow-up meeting with Puda Fire Authority Chief or folks from the Puda Fire Authority as one of the next steps. So that was very positive, recognizing it's not an easy thing to come up with the dollar amount that it's listed for the property. I attended State Board of Human Services. I mentioned that earlier. We do rulemaking for human services related legislation, and one area was around reimbursement for non-certified kinship care and also revising the rules. We also did a cost of living adjustment for the TANF program, the Colorado Works program, which having some of our economic and workforce folks here that basically there was a bill in 2022, House Bill 22-1259, which basically put in place a mechanism for doing cost of living adjustments regarding the basic cash assistance for folks who are on Colorado Works TANF. And what we shared in the discussion is recognizing that we needed to do this, but financially not sustainable for lots of reasons, and also here in Larimer County, as an example, all of the money that we have for Colorado Works goes for the cash assistance, which is critical for families. But we also know that the work supports that are in collaboration and partnership with our workforce development, that's critical. But at this point, we're not able to do that. We're just able to provide the money. So State Board of Human Services, and finally, and I can't recall if you were there. You might have been, maybe. And that was on Thursday night. I know our assistant county manager was there, but NOCO Foundation did a big celebration of philanthropy, and I didn't realize they've been around for 50 years, and they have a great model. They've done a lot of good work, a lot of good investments in the community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll try to be brief too because we still have a legal item on this. But on Wednesday, I was at the Extension Advisory Board Committee meeting, and those are only quarterly. It was a great reminder of the work that they're doing. So a lot of people know about Farmers Market, but there's also doing work in soil health and food safety certification, classes in both English and Spanish. There's an Evergreen Seniors program that engages seniors. They're doing, a lot of outreach in rural areas to find out what kind of services that they might be able to provide in places like Red Feather. So it's really remarkable the work that they're doing, and so I encourage everyone to engage if you can. They also obviously have the Master Gardeners program. So people standing by to sort of help you with any kind of needs that you have and how to grow things. So just was really, really proud of the work that they're doing and really wanted to highlight some of that work. And just not to toot my own horn, but on Saturday, May 17th, I will be doing story time, and the Larimer County Farmers Market will be open this Saturday. And so we encourage you to come by, and it's the very first day. And hear a story and buy some food and meet your neighbors. And it's did want to mention that one of the programs that is coming back will double SNAP benefits. So if you have EBT or SNAP benefits, you will get double of what you would normally get, and you can support local food vendors and be able to get some really nice fresh produce. Although it's early in the year, there's still some things, probably lettuces and things like that you can get locally, and those will obviously increase as the growing season moves on. But really great programs offered by Extension. And then as Commissioner Cavales and I were both at the Teen Activity Center, TAC 212, On Mountain, we were having a barbecue. There were a lot of police officers and school resource officers there. CSU football team, CSU volleyball team was there to celebrate the kids and kind of kick off the summer. It was a really great event. For those folks who don't know, your teens are welcome to drop by and participate in activities on Mountain Avenue at the TAC. And we thank Lori Cliff from Center for Family Outreach who runs that program. And there's lots of fun things to do there, art projects and air hockey. And if you go by, maybe sometimes Commissioner Kafalis is playing air hockey. And last week he was playing basketball. So you might get to meet your commissioner there as well. And then, as Commissioner Kafalis said, congratulations to the Community Foundation for 50 years of philanthropy. And I did not know that they started out by helping to finance the Lincoln Center. So it was fitting that the presentation or the program was at the Lincoln Center. So we congratulate them. And then on Saturday, Commissioner Kafalis and I were both at the Ungalloween Homeward Alliance fundraiser. There again, people in our community who are doing great work to help people experiencing homelessness. Neither one of us dressed up, but there were some people that brought some good Halloween costumes to the event. But they raised quite a bit of money to help with homelessness. And as we know, with federal dollars going away, these nonprofits are helping us to provide a safety net in our community for people who are vulnerable. And so we thank Homeward Alliance and the Murphy Center for all the work that they do in our community. And that is it for me. That is it for our agenda, except for moving into executive session. And that will, I will ask Commissioner Kafalis to make the motion to move us into executive session.
Yes, Madam Chair. And before I do that, I just wanted to comment that regarding not being dressed up in costume, I did at your suggestion wear my Chuck Taylor Converse sneakers.
I appreciate that.
You bet. So I move that the Board of County Commissioners enter into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-4024E, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiations relating to potential business personal property tax rebate pursuant to CRS 30-11-123. And so a decision is expected and will be coming back. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you for saying that. So yes, we will be coming back from this executive session with a decision. Right now, there's a motion on the table to move into executive session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 2-0. And we will be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
This was.
We're not.
Oh,
All right,
I'm not
we
ready.
are on right now,
We are on.
and we are back. And I'm going to turn things over to Adam Crow, our Economic Development Manager, to explain a little bit about what we'll be voting on here.
Thank you, Commissioners. So we're looking for a decision, and this is a continued decision from one that you made a couple months back to approve a personal property tax incentive, or at least support a business personal property tax. And this waiver that we are requesting today is to extend that decision from a 5-year personal property tax to a 6-year personal property tax. This would not increase the total amount of the incentive.
Thank you. Adam, any questions before I make a motion, Commissioner?
I don't have any questions, just a quick comment, and that is that by providing this incentive, we're incentivizing quite a significant investment in research and development and expansion of this company, good paying jobs.
Thank you. Thanks for adding that. So, Commissioner, I'll ask you to make a motion on this item.
Yes, ma'am. I move the Board of County Commissioners approve the authorization of the business personal property tax incentive to exceed the 5-year incentive time period provided in the county's incentive policy to allow for a 6-year term.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 2-0. And that is all the business to come before this board this morning. And so at 11:02, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.